ho, ho. It ain't Christmas yet, damn it, but I'm in the house. Christmas week. My man Shay is with me. Man, as in Shannon Sharpe. I got to be clear about when I say Shay because I got Shay Cornett in the house with me. Sitting right next to me, hosting the show. Dio with his crazy ass self is on the way. And as always, first takes in the house. This is what we do, y'all. Even on Christmas week, we're here to serve. We're here to serve. Let's roll, y'all.
And we begin with yesterday because the Philadelphia Eagles' 10-game win streak came to a halt after Jalen Hurts left the game in the first quarter with a concussion. Kenny Pickett came in outside of throwing a costly interception, played okay. Didn't do enough to help the Eagles win, though, and neither did the defense because Jayden Daniels threw for 5 touchdowns, one with under 2 minutes left that ultimately sealed the game for the Commanders against their divisional rivals. And so here's Daniels on what he thinks about performing in the clutch.
I love those type of situations. Those are when it's on thin ice and plays need to be made. That's what you live for. If you really love this sport, you live for those big time moments where it comes down to the end. You know, everything's to get you back against the wall. How will you respond?
That dude just stays cool. Hello, everyone. Shay Cornett, Dan Orlovsky, Stephen A. Smith here with you, and there's Shannon Sharpe. And so now we ask the question, what is the bigger headline? Is it the fact that Jalen Hurts got hurt and is hurt, or is it the fact that Jayden Daniels overcame it, scored 5 passing touchdowns, and won the game? What do you think, Stephen A.?
To me, it was Jalen Hurts. I understand what we saw from Jayden Daniels was marvelous, no doubt about that, and I get that part, not taking anything away from him, but it was still the Eagles' game to win. Devontae Smith, you got to catch that pass, no question about it. You catch that pass, you're going to sit up there and give the Eagles a first down. You're obviously going to be able to milk the clock. They probably don't have time to go down there and do what they did in the end, but I think ultimately what really escapes you is the fact that, you know, we're looking at that and we're looking at the Eagles' top-ranked defense and we're thinking about what this kid did. I'm thinking along the lines of the Eagles had won 10 straight. It would have been 11 if Hurts hadn't gotten hurt as far as I'm concerned. Him being out, Kenny Pickett being in there, obviously derailed them to some degree. They still put up 33 points. You got to give credit where credit is due. But I'm of the mindset that, you know, Hurts is the bigger deal. When he had the concussion and ended up going out in the first quarter, obviously things changed from that standpoint, and I think that's how I look at it. Shannon, go ahead.
A headline, quarterback refuses to slide, tries to get extra yards, get hits, gets injured. That's not a headline. That's been going on since the beginning of time. That's why they instituted the rule, a quarterback can slide, he gives himself up, no harm, no foul. Now, occasionally you'll get what happened to you with Trevor Lawrence and a couple of other quarterbacks. All Jalen Hurts had to do was slide, give himself up, but he tried to get extra yards. He took a hit that he shouldn't have had taken. But when you look at Jayden Daniels, Stephen A., you do realize this guy's a rookie. And we saw the caption underneath, 4 touchdown passes in the final 30 seconds and overtime this season. Against that defense, he's 4th in QBR. He's thrown 22 touchdowns. For him to do what he's been doing, and over the last couple of weeks, he's been sensational. He's picked up where he was. He had a little dip, but guess what? He's back on solid footing right now. That is the headline. That's what everybody is talking about, and rightfully so, because when you can do what he did against that defense, and Dio, we've been talking about it, a major reason that the Philadelphia Eagles are to be taken serious is because how that defense has been playing. That front seven has been getting after people. They've been shutting people down. The back end has done a great job. Man, he went through them like Graham Rudman went through tax dollars in the 80s. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. He shredded that defense, a top-ranked defense, and he did it as a rookie. Headline, Jayden Daniels is Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's playing far beyond the years would indicate.
Well, I completely agree. Offensive Rookie of the Year, no question about it. I think that race is now over as well.
Yes, I agree with that.
To make yesterday about anything but Jayden Daniels is ridiculous to me. To understand that we are now witnessing a rookie season that is again going to bring up the conversation of CJ's last year. C.J. Stroud's rookie season last year was remarkable. It was historical in many ways. And we're watching Jayden Daniels kind of go blow for blow with something very similar. 91% of their offense yesterday was Jayden Daniels against the number 1 defense, 330 yards. And the reality was, like, some of the turnovers. You know, the 2 interceptions that he throws, but some of those early turnovers to not blink, to not get down, and just continue to go punch for punch. And you guys have rattled off some of the late game heroics. I think you have to just watch that 4th and 11 run. That 4th and 11 run is remarkable when it comes to him taking off and him making the decision to actually run and not force the throw downfield, and then kind of getting towards the end of the run and having 3 defenders for Philly kind of converge on him, and him not sliding, not diving, not jumping, and just being like, no, I'm going to trust my speed, almost like he did against Florida. The red zone performance was absolutely spectacular. We're watching the young man completely flip an organization, completely change the narrative around a place. He was they had the 2nd pick, Washington. And now we're talking about a team that is no question going to be in the playoffs and still has a chance to win the division, I believe, in the NFC East. This is about Jayden Daniels.
Couple of things. Put Shannon Sharpe up on that damn screen so I can see him when I say this. First of all, Shannon Sharpe, let me be very, very clear, okay? When it comes to DL, I don't give a damn what somebody got to say when you sitting up there. It's ridiculous. This man eats mayonnaise sandwiches and brags about it on national television. I don't care about all that.
We got to do what we got to do.
Brags about it. Brags about eating mayonnaise sandwiches, okay? Who is he, okay? That's number one. Number 2, Shannon, here's where you got me, bro. I got to concede. Here's where you got me. I wasn't focused on the word headline. You got me there. Because when we're talking about headline, you are absolutely right. I'm thinking along the lines of the impact in terms of we know how great Daniels was. But the Eagles were up 21-7. And I'm looking at it from the standpoint that if Hurts hadn't gotten hurt, I think the outcome would have been different. That's just my assertion. That's what I'm saying. But in terms of headlines, I'll stand down with y'all on that. Jayden Daniels is definitely the bigger headline because he's a rookie and he was spectacular. I'll concede that. I was thinking along the lines of, y'all, Jalen Hurts going down to me compromise the Eagles to some degree. And I'm thinking they don't lose that game if he never gets hurt.
Jayden Daniels was the best player in the NFL yesterday.
Okay.
There's issues now for the Eagles depending on what happens here with Jalen Hurts going forward.
I don't think there's issues. No. I think yesterday, yes, the Jalen injury matters. Yesterday was the first time that I've watched a defensive line physically match Philadelphia's offensive line. Physically punch Philadelphia's offensive line in the mouth. Saquon had 5 negative runs yesterday. That's the most all season. 4 of them on first down. I understand he had that long run, and everyone thought this game was going to be over. It's 21-7. He had that 70-yarder. That defense totally dictated the way that game was going to go. They kept them in the game. 5 turnovers. The Philadelphia Eagles only scored 13 points off those turnovers. I don't think this is a big issue in Philadelphia. It's more of a credit to what Washington accomplished and on top of what Jayden was able to do.
Okay.
I agree with you, and I think the thing is that there are not very many quarterbacks that have a quarterback as agile and as mobile as Jayden Daniels that's able to get out of harm's way when they have him cornered. He's able to get, he had 9 carries for 81 yards. And when you have a quarterback that has that kind of mobility, because he can throw on the move, he can throw rolling left, rolling right, he can throw from the pocket. But if you run past him, and that's what the one thing you have to, it's tough to play against guys like this because your natural instinct is to bend the edge and get upfield. Excuse me, if you bend the edge on this young man and you get up the field, he will jump out the door and he'll take off on you. And we saw that yesterday. But in order for him to do what he did, even though, as you mentioned, Dio, he turned the ball over 5 times, to overcome that, that's normally a loss. I don't care if you're playing on the road, you're playing at home, or you're playing on the moon. You turned the ball over 5 times. Now, we did see it earlier this year where Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions, and they still won the game. But that just goes to show you how good this football team. There aren't very many teams that's good enough to overcome 5 turnovers and still go get you 30 points. And the way he won that game in the waning seconds, throw after throw after throw, run after run after run, that was a spectacular performance by a young man that we thought he would be good, but we didn't know that put him in this situation, he would be this good.
Well, listen. We got to ask ourselves this question as well. The Eagles won time of possession by 12.5 minutes.
Yep.
They were the number 1 defense, scoring defense, total defense coming into the game, gave up 368 yards. Okay. What about the questions that we should have about the Eagles?
What do you got?
In terms of what we were thinking about with them. We saw Detroit with their 17 injuries. We see Minnesota coming, but we still have trepidation about Sam Darnold. Obviously, the West is doing. Yes, we do. We have questions about Sam Darnold in the postseason.
You
Don't
just
look
won't
at me like
you
that.
just won't let it go.
Why?
You just won't let it go.
Why would he let it go?
If I said, why would I let it go? If I sat up there and I said, yo, Shan, what's wrong with D.O.? If I sat up there and I said, Sam Darnold and the playoffs, talk about an oxymoronic statement. Sam Darnold in the playoffs. I mean, really? Really? Of course, I need to see it. That's all I'm saying. Whatever you saw in the regular season, the postseason has not arrived yet. So you want to look at it. So from that standpoint, with the Detroit Lions injuries, you were looking at the Eagles being pretty much ahead of everybody else in the NFC. How are we to look at them now after what we saw yesterday? Is that a product of Jayden Daniels and we're just looking at them? Or is it the Eagles defense saying, wait a minute, maybe they're not what we thought they were? Which one is it, fellas?
The Eagles defense had not given up more than 2 passing touchdowns all season long. They gave up 5 yesterday to Jayden Daniels. That might be a little bit of a problem.